Good evening, everybody. Good evening. I'm David Jones. I'm the immediate past Sergeant of Arms. Our Sergeant of Arms, Cameron, is not here tonight, so I wore my boots in honor of him because he's the only guy that wears boots here. I think he's home crying because Dallas Cowboys lost. He's a big Dallas fan and they lost really bad. So I think that's why he's not here tonight. But as always, bathrooms are behind us. Please put your phones on mute. And again, this microphone is just for our Zoom people and recording on YouTube. So you need to project when you're up here. We don't have the little, whatever they call that thing, speaker tonight. But we do have a little something special tonight because it's coming up soon is our awards, or not our awards, our contest. Every year we do an award. I'm going straight to award. A speech contest. And unfortunately, a couple of years ago, Eric won this, not unfortunately, but we just found this award. It's like 2 years old. So we're going to present it to him tonight. This is third place. He was Table Topics speech contestant. So I'd just like to welcome our president, Eric. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Nice little trophy, yeah. He went on to become the chief judge of the district after that. And now he's our club president. But when speech contest comes up, you should try out. You never know this. I mentioned it before when I was at the annual convention in the Bahamas. One of the speech contestants who made it all the way, it was her first year. She just signed up. She started doing it and she went all the way to the finals. She didn't win, but she went further than I did. So that was about it. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our immediate past Vice President of Education and our immediate past district judge, our now president, trophy winner. I was waiting for him to get up here. Eric Laxer. Thanks. What?
Yes. Thank you, David. Wow, what an exciting night as usual. Thank you. Raise your hand if the best nights of the week are Tuesday nights. All right, let's hear it for Tuesday nights. Not bad. I tried. So I have a couple of items to do just before we kick the meeting off officially. I would like to welcome a couple of our new members who are here, starting with Toastmaster Momita. And if you could come up and we can give you your ribbon and a round of applause. We've seen you the past 3 or 4 meetings. We're delighted that you've joined our club. Thank you for being here. And I don't see our other new member, but I do just want to introduce somebody who is here as a member of South Park Toastmasters. I guess you can introduce yourself when we give our guests a chance, but you'll get to meet Allison Brogel. So with that, I'm now going to hand the microphone over to our VP of membership, and please give him a much better round of applause than we did a second ago, Toastmaster Colin.
Okay. Sounds good. Good evening, Queen City. Oh, no. People, I know we're in a church, but this ain't no funeral. Let's step on the gas a little bit. Good evening, Queen City. All right, that's a little better. I look forward to the day where I'm only going to have to ask that or say that one time. So hope you accept that challenge. As Eric mentioned, we love to kick off our meetings by having our guests introduce themselves, share what brought them out tonight to this, Charlotte's oldest self-improvement cult. Don't worry, there's no ritual hazings or sacrifices. But I'm going to bring the microphone around. Can you please just share what brought you out tonight, how you heard about us, anything that comes to mind? I'm going to start on this side of the room. We're going to work our way around. And at the end of the meeting, we're going to go in reverse order and hear what you had to think about it. So.
Hi, everyone. My name is Greg. This is my second time here. My first time was last week, but actually my first time was a couple years ago. I came here and I just didn't stick with it. Now I'm back, really trying to improve my public speaking and then just connect with other like-minded people. So yeah, just excited to be here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maya, and my goal is to improve my self-speaking skills. I recently just met Miss Dana, and she encouraged me to come out tonight. And my other goal is just to get out of my comfort zone. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. This is Avinash Singh. I live in Ballantyne, Charlotte. I moved to Charlotte 5 years back. This is my second meeting in person. I was here last week as well. And prior to that, for like during COVID time, I was part of the club for almost like 7 to 8 months. And I really like it being in person. I could clearly see the difference being on Zoom and in person. And my goal here is to, get better at public speaking, learn from you all. Yeah, that's it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Madario, but I go by Dario. And my therapist actually recommended that I come here. He mentioned public speaking and self-confidence, and then stepping out my comfort zone as well.
Can I ask, what is the logo on your chest refer to? Oh, okay. All right, cool. Cool. I thought for some reason I thought that was George Washington University up in DC. Okay.
Hi, I'm Allison Bergley. I had been going to South Park Toastmasters since January. That was a great place for me while I was in between jobs, just with the time and location. But I've started a new job this week, so this is going to be my new home. But I'm actually not new to Toastmasters. A few years ago, when I worked at MetLife, I was part of their corporate club, had been their treasurer, and actually, right before I left that company, was the president of that club. Very familiar with Toastmasters, and really glad to be here. Thank you.
I think we've got a former member in the house. Am I right? Hey, I'm gonna keep this short. I promise you. This won't be longer than 60 seconds. Maybe a minute and 50 minutes. All right. How's everybody doing tonight? I'm like, yeah, I gotta ask the same question here. How's everybody doing tonight? Okay, you would thought that it would have been better when he said it. So I am a former member of this club, and I suggest anyone who's not officially a member to join. It's most definitely life-changing. So the reason why I came tonight is because I have a friend, and she's been in Florida for like a year. And she texted me the other night like, hey, I have no friends. And I sent her a Toastmasters. I said, hey, you need to go join Toastmasters, because she's an introvert. She don't know how to speak with people. I'm like, go join Toastmasters. It's a good way to meet people. So I'm like, why don't I do what I told her to do? What I did, October 2020 is when I first joined this club. So if you're not a member of Toastmasters, my advice to you today is go ahead and try joining Toastmasters. Very much. Helping do my job for me. I always appreciate that. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We just had a couple of handsome gentlemen in red polos walk in, so I'm sorry to spring this on you, but we got a new member. Excellent. I must not have handled him. You must have handled him, our diligent treasurer. So welcome to the club, Brian. I'm going to have a special question for you at the end of this segment here. Steve. Yeah. All right. Handsome gentleman in the red polo, number 2. Is this your first time out with us?
Yes, first time at Toastmasters.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, could we ask you to just share where you're from and what brought you out tonight?
I'm from Ann Arbor, Michigan. I've lived in Charlotte for 16 years, and I have a friend who is a distinguished member of Toastmasters in another state that recommended it to me.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Midwestern refugees are welcome here at Queen City Toastmasters. I'm one myself. So great showing from our guests tonight. I do just want to throw a quick question out to Mumita. Why did you decide to join Queen City? Why'd you take the plunge?
Actually, back in India, I was part of HSR Toastmaster, and it was a good experience. Like-minded people, we had fun, but unfortunately, I could not continue. So when I came over here in US, so I was looking for my own self-improvement, and also to have like, it's a Tuesday evening is a good day for me. I enjoy it. And it's the same vibe what I used to feel in HSR Toastmaster. I get the same vibe, and I want to improve in public speaking. So that's the objective and the goal.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you so much. So bringing some international Toastmasters experience with us. We have a familiar face that just walked in. Could we ask you to do the normal shtick of just introducing yourself and what brought you back out tonight?
Hello, my name is Adrienne Johnson. I'm coming back to Toastmasters to practice my speaking. It's nice to see you, and that's why I came.
Awesome. Well, welcome back, Adrian. We've got chairs if you want to sit there. I know these pews are comfortable though, aren't they? All right, Bry Guy, why did you take the plunge?
Oh, a friend of mine, Nick Foster, is in the group already, and he's spoken very highly of it. And I've seen so many life-changing transformations. So I figured, maybe miracles can happen with me too. So we'll see.
All right, excellent. Let's give it up for our guests one more time. Just a quick housekeeping announcement before I turn it back over to our supreme leader. But this microphone does not transmit sound through these speakers. It's actually for the benefit of our guests who are joining us online tonight. That looks like it's just Allie, but it also helps because we record these meetings and publish them to our YouTube channel, so you can go back and watch the meeting afterwards. I find that particularly helpful after I give a speech to watch myself from that third person perspective. So please do be mindful of speaking into the microphone tonight. And for that lovely, loud HVAC system in the back, we do need for you all to pipe up and speak loud and speak proud. So Eric.
Thank you, Toastmaster Colin. And I see that almost right on cue, our chocolate butterfly has floated into the room. And Andrea, do you have a moment? Do you want to just explain what this is for here? What's happening?
Sure, I was gonna wait till I got it set up, but we have our club growth director, had to get the right title. Our past president, Mr. David, is his birthday. So everybody, can you say a big happy birthday to David? So he told us it was his birthday, but we didn't need to do nothing. Now y'all know if somebody tell you it's their birthday, they want you to do something. So we made sure that we didn't just get him a balloon, and the only birthday balloon they had was Over the Hill or a princess. So I figured Over Hill was the best one. And so we have some cupcakes he can share with others, and we'll sing happy birthday at the end of the meeting. Appreciate it. Love you.
Well done, Andrea, right into the meeting and thrown right into the fire. Perfect. Thank you for doing that. Want to remind everybody of a couple of things we started doing that are new. If you know you're up next to speak, we want you to come up to the front. We call these areas the on deck circle. So that way you're up here and you're ready to go. And if we hear the word of the day, guys, yes, we knock on the table. Fantastic. We've also added these to your table. We used to use them when we voted for winners, but we don't do that anymore. But they're still beneficial because you could write a brief evaluation for anybody who comes up here and speaks. And you'll see, even if you don't see the section that you want to use for somebody, you could just write their name down and then fold them up, and you can give them to me. I can come by and collect them later in the meeting. So with that said, let's move on to the most exciting moment of the night, where we get to hear from our Toastmaster of the day. This is a man who I'd like to introduce, who needs no introduction. He's smooth, he's suave, he rides a bicycle better than anybody I've ever seen in my life. It's like watching waves of the ocean. You remember his entrance from last week? Please join me in welcoming our Toastmaster of the Day, VP of Membership, Toastmaster Colin.
You spoil me with your insincere words, President Eric. Thank you. So, hello again, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, who I hope will become future Toastmasters. To kick off our theme for tonight's meeting, I got to take you down memory lane a little bit, back to 2006. I was a freshman in high school, and it was a fall evening. I was returning on a school bus, fellow members of my JV soccer team. We were coming back from a match a couple towns over from where we lived and went to school. And as was customary, after an evening game, we would stop for dinner as a team on our way back. And we pulled into this travel plaza, which was a pretty common place for us to convene as a team and have these post-game meals, where there were 4 fast food establishments. There was a Burger King, a Wendy's, a Taco Bell, and an Arby's. And we'd file off the bus, in our sweaty, stinky, dirty uniforms. And our coach would be standing there at the door of the bus. He'd open up a white envelope and he'd hand each one of us a crisp $5 bill. And then we, either individually or in small groups, would go to one of those 4 fast food restaurants of our choosing. And back in 2006, $5 could get you a veritable feast at a fast food restaurant. I don't know what $5 can get you anymore. I think every time I do eat fast food, which is a little bit more often than I'd like to admit to my doctor, I end up parting with anywhere from $15 to $20 for me and my wife. So the value does not feel as great as it did when I was back in high school. Tonight, I'm here to talk with you about fast food, but not just any fast food, regional fast food. I'm a regional fast food enthusiast. When I travel to new places in the United States, I intentionally seek out 1 or 2 regional fast food experiences to expose myself to some cheap value eats that folks in other states and regions like to enjoy. Here in North Carolina, and just the South in general, I, as a former Northerner, have really enjoyed sinking my teeth into some good biscuits. I come from bagel country originally, and I do love me a good bagel, and a good bagel is hard to come by here in Charlotte, unless you want to part with more than a few shekels for one of those Poppy's bagels on South Boulevard. Those are good. They're just a little overpriced. Am I right, Jackie? Yeah. I see you nodding over there. But I'm a full-fledged biscuit man now. I'm a born-again biscuit man. Last week, I stood before you and proclaimed myself to be the Billy Graham of e-bikes. Well, I'm also known as the Biscuit Billy Graham in my friendship circles. And my chosen house of worship is Biscuitville. A quick show of hands if you've ever heard of Biscuitville. Keep those hands up if you've ever been to Biscuitville. Kendall, what did you think about Biscuitville?
Love Biscuitville.
Love Biscuitville. Why do you love Biscuitville?
The biscuits.
Okay, well said. Well said. So Biscuitville is unique to North Carolina, slowly expanding, but it was founded in the town of Burlington, North Carolina, about 20 minutes east of Greensboro. It is now headquartered in Greensboro. Its operation spans about 70 non-franchise, so privately owned locations, predominantly in North Carolina with a handful in Virginia and some coming soon to South Carolina. And I do like that because those ones coming to South Carolina are not too far from Charlotte. And what I like so much about Biscuitville is it is very much farm to table fast food. That may sound like a contradiction to you, but this organization sources all of its ingredients from family farms within 200 miles of its headquarters in Greensboro. The food is fresh, never frozen. When you walk into one of their locations, you'll see a map on the wall that shows they got their ham from this farm in Eastern North Carolina. They got their flour from a flour mill in Henderson. They got their cheese from a dairy in Winston-Salem. And it's all local. It supports the state's economy. And it doesn't feel as unhealthy as Bojangles. And I mean, Bojangles feels unhealthy in a spiritual sense as well. All Bojangles sinners must repent. Come to the light. See, Biscuitville is the supreme premier choice. But regional fast food is just such a delight to me for reasons I can't really explain. And tonight we're going to talk a little bit more about it. I'm going to want to hear from you all about your favorite regional fast food establishments if you have one. If you don't have one, perhaps one that you might be interested in trying. And if there's not one that you're interested in trying, well, just tell us something else interesting about your culinary tastes. Sound good? All right, excellent. So just to prime our guests for a little bit about what is ahead for tonight's meeting, Toastmasters meetings follow the same basic form and structure from one week to the next. We introduce our guests as we did. Toastmaster rises and gives a little preamble about the theme for this evening's meeting or any given evening's meeting. And then a couple of folks are brought up to kick things off. And then after that, we enter our prepared speeches and our impromptu speeches, and then we get to the evaluation. So I'm a fan of metaphors. The metaphor that I offer you tonight is that this meeting is like a rock concert. You know, the opener is about to come up. The headliners are going to come up and give the prepared speeches and the impromptu speeches. And then we're all going to the after party and the evaluation, and we're going to bring her home. Sound good? Excellent. So to get this meeting started off right, we have a guest who I'm very, very happy to see in 2 dimensions. She's joining us online tonight to provide us with an inspirational thought to just get the mood exactly as it should be, because this is going to be a great meeting. We've got a great lineup. Allie, let's get her started.
Thank you, Colin. Hello, fellow Toastmasters and honored guest. I changed what direction I was going in light of what is happening in the world. I am reminded with what my grandmother said. When are we going to teach our children to love more than hate? When that happens, the world will change. And so I want you to, as that thought, bring this through. Children are born with open hearts and curious minds and a capacity to love and have compassion. It is our responsibility as parents, as teachers, as community members to nurture these qualities and to guide them forward with unity and understanding. Let us take a moment as we reflect on the impact of teaching love over hate. When we encourage our children to love, we are sowing seeds of tolerance, of acceptance. We're cultivating the world where differences are celebrated, not feared. We're building bridges instead of walls. To achieve this vision, we must lead by example. Our children learn by observing our actions, our words, and our attitudes. Let us all be role models of love and kindness and empathy. And let us show our children that love is not a sign of weakness, but a source of strength.
Thank you very much, Allie, for that incredibly powerful message. Do you just want to ask you one question, though? Do you have a favorite fast food establishment?
Oh, not a big fast food person. Gosh, but a good French fry. So, ooh, Wendy's fries.
Okay. Okay, I saw David, you kind of tilted your head there. You didn't fully agree with that. You know, fry preferences are wide ranging, right? Yeah, and there's also so many choices. We've got the crinkle cut, we've got the curly, we've got the wedge, the waffle, so many different fries to choose from. So whatever floats everyone's boat, David. Let's not descend into fry judgment here. All right, next. I've got to introduce a couple PICs, and that stands for Partners in Crime. My young high school age cousin taught me that one. So in order to do that, I got to bring up my man, KR, right here, Kendall Rackley, who's serving as our grammarian this evening, and that's a very important role. Kendall, why don't you tell us what that is?
All
right. Good evening, Toastmasters and honored guests. Thank you, Colin, for that wonderful introduction. So I'll just start off by saying that my favorite fast food restaurant is probably Sonic. So anytime that me and my fiance are out anywhere, especially in like a new area, as soon as we see a Sonic, we're like, oh, we already know we're going to eat tonight. So that is my favorite spot. Like the number one, like just the single burger is good. Just single burger with no tomatoes. Not fries. I like tater tots and an ocean water to finish it off. But anyway, I don't want to get too involved in my meals for tonight. But I'm the grammarian tonight. So I'll be paying attention to everybody's words and their usage of language. I'll be watching for ahs, all the other different filler words. And I'll also be noting any really good quotes, thoughts, or sayings. And I'm also introducing the word of the day. So do we have any tape? Is there any tape to put it up here? Okay. While they're looking for tape. Oh, never mind. He's got it. Yeah. So while he's putting that on there, the word of the day is seize. So I got this word of the day because I was looking for inspiration. So I went to the Queen City Toastmasters website, and the quote on there was talking about what was I think it was like the quote of the week. It said something about like, kind of seizing the moment or like carpe diem. That was kind of the theme of it. So I said, why don't I just say seize? So the definition of seize means to take hold of suddenly and forcibly. And it also means to take an opportunity eagerly and decisively, not to be confused with cease, which means to stop. An example of using the word is carpe diem, a common Latin phrase about making the most of the present moment. Directly means seize the day. Oh, sorry. So everybody is encouraged to use the word of the day. And I think that if you do, you get a little rumble on the table there. And at the end of the meeting, I'll give a grammarian's report to let everybody know their ahs, and who used the word of the day. Thank you.
I just want to point out instant credibility as a grammarian when you're wearing Argyle socks. So came dressed for the job you got tonight. I appreciate that. Next, I got to welcome up a very special guest who last week was her first member as a full-fledged Queen City Toastmaster. She's grabbing the bull by the horns here and jumping into a role in her second meeting as member. Please welcome our timer this evening, Miriam, who's going to talk to us about how she's keeping us on time, in time, and with time.
Thank you, Colin. Hello, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. I am the timekeeper tonight. So I just wanted to explain that role a little bit. I will be helping the speakers track how much time they have left for their allotted speeches. Anyone giving a formal speech will have 7 minutes. So when they reach 5 minutes of their speech time, I will hold up the green card for them. When they reach 6 minutes, I'll hold up the yellow card. They should seize that last amount of time they have left before I hold up the red card at 7 minutes. Then for our table topics, the allotted time is 2 minutes. So at 1 minute, I will hold up the green card. At 1.5 minutes, I'll hold up the yellow card. And at 2 minutes, I'll hold up the red card. Then lastly, I will be helping the evaluators stay on time. And they have 3 minutes total. So I'll be holding up the green card at 2 minutes, the yellow card at 2.5, and the red card at 3 minutes. And then I will come back at the end of the meeting and let you all know how much time each of those people took for their speeches. Thank you.
Let's give it up for our grammarian and timer one more time. Two very, very important roles integral to the feedback we get here at Toastmasters is how clean our language is. And then, of course, how much time we're using when we speak. It's so easy to lose track of time. I do that all the time myself. So thank you both for your service to the club. And it's also a great speaking opportunity as well, because you have to explain something very clearly and precisely. All right, headliner's gone. Opening act is about to come out on stage. Before we get there, though, I want to re-examine this concept of regional fast food with you all. So I mentioned regional quirks as being one major factor in my love for regional fast food. Has anyone here been to the Southeastern staple Cookout? Cookout. Not that many. Not that many. Okay. Hands up. Hands up if you've been to Cookout and you like Cookout. Okay. I mean, we didn't lose a lot of hands there. Didn't lose a lot of hands. For the folks who like Cookout, what do you like about Cookout? Milkshakes. Milkshakes. Yeah. Yeah. So milkshakes, good value, right? And let's dive into that a little more. How many milkshakes are there, Allie, at Cookout? Yeah, 40. Yeah. A ridiculous number of milkshakes. A borderline irresponsible number of choices. But among those 40 flavors, there are things that are unique to the Southeast. I believe they have a peach cobbler milkshake. Right? That's something that the South is known for. You could probably find a peach cobbler in New England or somewhere. John, can you? You find a peach cobbler in New England? Oh, for some, I thought you were from New York. Can you find one in Chicago? They're not in Chicago. Okay. All right. David, could you find a peach cobbler in Florida? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So they've incorporated some of these Southern staples or things that are uniquely Southern into their repertoire. There's another local fast food restaurant here in North Carolina. It's a budding one. It's early in its journey, but I think it's got Broadway stars in its eyes. It's called Dario. You ever heard of that one? Yeah. Who else has heard of Dario? Who likes Dario? You've been to? All right. The hands. David, you got high standards with your fast food, my friend. But Dario has about 7 or 8 locations, mostly in the Triad, which is Winston-Salem, Greensboro, High Point, that general area. Also fresh, never frozen. And what I really like about it is, in addition to having a full dinner and lunch menu, they have a full service ice cream counter as well. And they usually go with ice creams at these restaurants that are unique to the city where they're living, or at least the region. So in the Greensboro area, they use ice cream from a local Greensboro creamery. Could they create or produce or syndicate some of that ice cream in-house and maybe make a little bit more money in terms of their profit margin? Probably. But they're going with the local choice. So they're pulling up some of these local businesses in the process. And it's good. It's a place where you can also go to that independent ice cream chain and get ice cream as well. So I really like that fusing of different regional options in one convenient location. So check it out. The nearest one to here is in Mooresville. Highly recommend. Good place to go after a day out on the yacht, right, Kendall? All right. So I'm not going to belabor the point any longer here. We're going to come back to regional fast food, but I don't want to keep our fabulous speakers that we have tonight waiting. To kick us off, we have a guest who also hasn't been with us for very long, but has left her mark very, very early and strongly. She is a jailhouse lawyer. No. She's a business lawyer. She offers free legal advice, Queen City Toastmasters. So that's another benefit to our guests and potential future members as a reason to come here. Please welcome Dana Robinson, who's going to be telling us about selling an insurance agency, step 1, letters of intent.
Toastmaster. As Colin said, I will be presenting a speech called The Ultimate Guide to Buying and Selling an Insurance Agency in November. And it's actually for continuing education credit for insurance agents. So they get that added benefit. They have to take 12 courses a year. As with my previous speech on insurance agencies, I know you're probably not all insurance agency owners, so please play along with my questions to the audience as if you were, in whatever way you find most entertaining. And with that, we will get started. By show of hands, how many of you are here because you fantasize about selling your insurance agency for many millions of dollars? Woo! Yeah, that's what I figured. Terrific. Thank you. And how many of you are here because you dream of acquiring someone else's insurance agency and multiplying your annual revenue and swimming in money? All right, we have some people who are here for that too. For the next couple of hours, we're going to explain to you how to do just that. But first, I want to play a game. I need volunteers to tell me, either when all of this is materialized and you're swimming in money, where are you going to go on vacation? Or what ridiculous, completely unnecessary thing are you going to buy first? Do I have any volunteers? Okay, in the back. Yes. Really? Okay. That sounds better. I'm from Florida, so I can make fun of Florida. That's right. Oh. No, it's like that with women and their eyebrows. I get it. Okay, we have a trip to Africa and a personal barber on call. Do we have any other volunteers? Trips, ridiculous purchases. Yacht. I was hoping somebody would say that because it's in one of my slides because someone always says it. So perfect. Okay. Anyone else? Fabulous trips. We have a lot of volunteers. Okay, up front. Indonesia. And where? Private jet. Very nice. I think you had private plane. All right. These are fabulous ideas. Do we have any other volunteers? Ooh. These are great. I'm going to steal these when I'm a millionaire. All right. So these are all excellent, excellent answers. I think we're all excited about what we're going to do when we're super filthy rich. And I want you to know that your dreams are both achievable and, in my opinion, well-deserved. I will share with you that my father was an insurance agent, and I know that it is a hard business. It takes decades of hard work to create a successful agency and to take it to the point where you can either expand it by buying another one or you can actually sell it. And I will share with you that there are high highs and low lows with insurance, and I completely get how hard you are all working. Sometimes my dad would prospect a client for months, and when it would close and he would onboard the client, we would have celebratory dinners, and maybe I'd get to go to the mall. One time he brought home a puppy. He was an impulsive person. And when he did not close the deal, weeks of moping, just moping. And cue Phil Collins playing on a loop in my house, just Phil Collins, the ultimate sad songwriter. So I get it. This is a hard industry. Sales are hard, and you deserve all of the success that you've achieved, and you deserve to see all your fruit, all your hard work come to fruition. You deserve the yachts and the private planes and the private barber and the whole thing. How do you get there? I've already said you deserve it, but how do you actually get there? How do you make this happen? With planning, a lot of planning and a lot of details. So what is the first step in the planning process? It's letters of intent. How many of you have heard of a napkin contract? Okay, a couple of people. Usually the way the story goes is that somebody's had a couple of drinks, usually a couple of somebody's. And, oh, I should have told you my speech is 13 minutes. Sorry. Usually people have had a couple of drinks, they get a great idea to enter into an agreement, and they scrawl it out on a cocktail napkin. What usually ensues after that is that one person really wants to enforce it and one person really, really wants to wriggle out of it. Letters of intent are sort of like napkin contracts in that you have this great deal hanging in front of you and you want to put a placeholder on it. So you're going to put it in a letter of intent. Typically, they're non-binding other than confidentiality. So it has a little bit of a similarity in spirit to a napkin contract. Famous example of a napkin contract, Lionel Messi, one of the most famous soccer players in the world. FC Barcelona recruited him at age 13. And this is how it happened. The agent was sitting down with him and his dad at lunch. His dad was about to walk because Lionel Messi actually needed a growth hormone treatment that was fairly expensive. And the team had kind of been yanking the family around about whether they were actually going to pay for the growth hormone treatment or not. Well, the agent at this lunch realized that he had a major talent that was about to slip through his fingers. So he scrawled out a contract on a napkin. And the rest is history. The contract is, this napkin is framed and it's in a bank vault right now. But let me tell you this, if Messi had ever wanted to get out of that contract, he could have. Here's the problems. So Messi is underage. First of all, he's 13. But his dad never countersigned. He didn't sign the napkin. So you can't enforce that against somebody who doesn't sign a contract. Also, this is my favorite part. It says that it's enforceable provided we keep to the amounts agreed upon. I'm sorry, what does that mean? Nobody put the amounts anywhere. Nobody knows what anybody said at lunch, provided we keep to the amounts agreed upon. No. So with our letters of intent, we run into the same kinds of problems. If they're not drafted properly, no one knows what you meant and lawyers end up arguing. And frankly, it's a really huge missed opportunity because a good LOI is a roadmap for your whole transaction and for your asset purchase agreement. I typically represent buyers. I can represent both buyers and sellers, but with buyers, the buyer typically has the first crack at drafting the asset purchase agreement. If you give me no guidance in the LOI other than agency A is buying agency B for $10 million, I will write my dream contract for my buyer. I will put every advantageous term into it that I can possibly think of. I will reach for the moon and stars. And then this is what happens. I will send it to seller's counsel and they will tear it up. They will redline it. They will take out all my advantageous terms. We will probably fight on the telephone. At this point, everyone is spending a lot of money that they really don't need to spend. Because if the parties had sat down in the beginning and identified what they wanted out of the deal and had put all of those terms into the letter of intent, then all I would have done was implement them. I would have reduced it to writing. I would have been a mere scrivener, which is a lot cheaper than a lawyer who's all riled up and arguing with somebody on the phone. So this saves you a lot of money if you actually go in and make the terms correct and you make them as detailed as possible. Even though it's a little bit sad for me because I make a lot more money when I'm arguing and when I'm negotiating deal terms. But I will let you in on the secret that if you negotiate your own deal before you involve me, you will have a way lower legal bill and you might just get your yacht. So moving on, what are the big deal points for a letter of intent? It basically boils down to what is each party getting and what is each party risking, right? So if you're buying an insurance agency, you want the customers, you want the employees, you may want the office space, you want all of those types of things, right? And then what is the buyer risking? Well, they're risking that you mismanaged the business before they bought it. So they're risking that customers could come back and sue them, or not so much with insurance agencies, but if there's any kind of equipment that's got a lot of deferred maintenance, it might break down on you on day one, and then you're pretty pissed off. You're also risking that you may not have enough money for operating costs. So you're not probably going to see revenue for a little bit as a buyer because you're going to have to wait a few months for your own sales to come in. But the landlord, he still wants to get paid. So you have operating costs from day one, but you may not have revenue. So that's another thing to think about. Do you need the seller to leave you money in the business so that you can actually operate it without getting out of pocket? Now, if you're a seller, what are you getting? It seems obvious, right? Like you're getting money, not so fast. If you're being acquired by a really big company like Gallagher Insurance, I've actually seen where they say we can pay you in any combination of cash and our own stock. Some of you are getting older here, and I'm not looking at anybody in particular, but if you are 70 or 80, you probably don't want some speculative stock, right? You want cash. They don't accept Gallagher stock for yachts. They just don't. So you have to think about what's important to you. And it could be the difference between an $11.5 million deal that's primarily cash versus a $12 million deal that's got a bunch of stock in it. You might want the lower deal that has more cash. So you need to think about these things in advance and put them into the letters of intent. Remember, you'll have much less back and forth. You'll lower your legal bill. Again, sad for me, but I'm letting you have this. And it'll be much faster. And then also, it preserves relationships, because you may think, well, I don't really care after I close what happens between me and the seller or between me and the buyer, but you do, because especially if you're the buyer, the seller is almost always going to stay on for a little while after the deal closes to help you learn how to actually run the business, right? To tell you about the customers, to tell you about the idiosyncrasies of the business. If you create a bunch of animosity in horse trading this deal after the LOI during the deal process and everybody's got hateful feelings for each other, it's going to be very, very difficult to make that transition and to do so successfully. So returning to our two main questions, what is each party getting? What is each party risking? I think what we found is that those two primary questions spin off many, many more questions. And you really want to capture as many of them as you can in the letter of intent so that you are not dealing with them during the asset purchase drafting phase. Because if you're dealing with them at that phase, I can guarantee you, you have a very high legal bill, and I will be the one to go to Patagonia, not you. So you probably don't want that. Remember, all joking aside, my goal really is for you to enjoy what you've built. I look out at you guys, and a lot of you look just like my dad, and that's a compliment. So I want you to get your dream boat. I want you to get your airplane. I want you to get your personal barber. Please take the time now to invest in the future that you deserve by thinking through these issues. All of your goals are achievable by planning ahead. Thank you for your time. Sorry. Sorry, I am secretly very nervous. Thank you.
I could tell it all. One more question for you before we release you on good behavior. Regional fast food vice. Do you have one?
Jenny's ice cream.
Jenny's ice cream. We'll count it. We'll count it. That might be a little too gourmet. It might be in the fast casual ice cream realm, but we'll count it. That's totally fine. That's totally fine. Thank you so much. Let's give it up for Dana one more time. What I really admired about that speech was that one line when she said, when I'm a millionaire one day, not if, confidence, it's in you. I want to see it. Next up, we have our treasurer, our beloved treasurer of Queen City Toastmasters, who's here to talk to us tonight about where our dues go. Let's make some noise for Jamie, son of Richard.
Thank you, Toastmaster Colin. Fast food, regional fast food. I'm gonna go with the boring one, which is Chick-fil-A, because I love fried chicken sandwiches, and I'll try any fried chicken sandwich at any restaurant on the planet, and I always come back to Chick-fil-A. It's that good. But I was introduced to a new one, which is The Habit, which is a California West Coast fast food chain, and they have the best burger that I've had at any fast food restaurant. And they used to have one right around the corner, and then they closed it. And now they're just moving, here. And then they've moved it over to the 485 loop. I don't know. So.
Technically, if it's here, it's California.
All right. Yes, it's an outpost. All right, good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I am delighted to be here to talk about our Toastmasters dues and where they go. So by a show of hands, who's been interested or wondered where your dues go? All of our members anyway. Well, tonight you are in luck because as your treasurer, I'm going to dive into the secret ins and outs of the financial underbelly of Queen City Toastmasters. Just kidding. You'll never encounter a simpler profit and loss statement. But hopefully by the end, you will feel reassured that your money is well spent. So let's start with dues. $160 per person per year. Don't let that scare you for some of the guests. I will get to that here momentarily. And that is the primary source of income for Toastmasters International and the sole source of income for our Queen City Club. We don't have sponsorships here at Queen City. So now that I mention it, maybe we should think about that. Queen City Toastmasters brought to you by Axe Body Spray. That could work. And we don't have product placements, but we could have a Dasani bottle sitting up here for all of our speakers. I don't know, we'll workshop it, we'll figure it out. But for now, what we have are our dues. So let's talk about where those dues go. 120 of every $160 goes to Toastmasters International. That's the umbrella organization. And that's a pretty big chunk of change. Kendall's giving me some eyeballs. So let's talk about what you get for that $120. First, you get access to the full digital catalog of all of the support resources to help you on your public speaking journey. The most notable one, which we've all heard about, is the Pathways curriculum. You'll hear about it from Elvis. Many of us are taking advantage of it today. If you aren't as a member, I definitely encourage you to make sure you get in there and start to take advantage of that because it's a fantastic curriculum. Second, you become part of a community of fellow Toastmasters who show up here each and every week to help each other get better at public speaking. And just having this audience, it's a huge help in helping get up here and have the confidence to continue to grow as a public speaker. And third, for many of us, Toastmasters can open doors. It can get you noticed by a recruiter. It can even lead to promotions. We've heard as much from some of our very own Queen City members. So that's what goes to Toastmasters International. The remaining $40 goes to our Queen City Club to pay for our modest but important expenses to make sure that we deliver a great in-person and virtual experience. Our expenses fall into 4 categories. First, and the largest, $14 per person, not too much, goes to our subscriptions. That includes our membership to Zoom for our virtual meetings, and that includes our engagement application, Meetup. And Meetup is how we reach out and communicate with new members and ultimately recruit new members. For many of the folks in the room, you first found us through Meetup, so it's an incredibly important investment in the success of our club. Second, $10 a person goes to the Vine United Methodist Church, the building and the room that we are in right now. You can think of that as a thank you for being able to be here each and every week. Third, $9 goes to materials for our club, and that includes things like the ribbons that we use to celebrate milestones for our members. It includes supplies, things like the badges some of our members are wearing, and it includes investments in technology. So you may not notice it, but we have in the back plugged in a booster for our Wi-Fi signal, and that makes sure that we have a great connection for our virtual meeting. So we have to invest in those kinds of things over time to continue to make sure that the club and the meetings run effectively. Last, perhaps most important of all, $8 per person per year goes to snacks and drinks. And anyone born in the South knows that when you host guests, you put out snacks. It's just what you do. It's not like we're putting out caviar. So that's what goes to our club, Queen City. And I can assure you that as an executive team, we are committed to being good stewards of those resources. We recently reduced the portion of dues that go to the club to help offset an increase at Toastmasters International. And we will continue to look for ways to reduce expenses as long as it doesn't negatively impact new member recruiting or current member experience and retention. Now, some of you out there are probably still thinking to yourself, it's a lot of money. And it is, but let's look at it in a slightly different way. 48 out of 52 weeks a year, give or take, Queen City meets in this room. And that $160 translates to less than $3.50 a meeting. And I challenge you to find another 75-minute experience that meets each and every week that will be so inspiring, so challenging, and ultimately so fulfilling, and that will allow you to seize the opportunity to become a great public speaker. And when you look at it that way, for me anyway, it starts to feel like money well spent. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Excellent, excellent speech, Jamie. Super insightful. I, as a 2-year member now at this point, I didn't even know all the things that we spent money on. Tell me this, is there room in the budget for some daiquiris and cocktail weenies on a weekly basis? No? All right. Well, we'll talk about that one in a closed session of the board. Just for our guest attending with us tonight, he referenced that it is $160 per year. Is not billed all at once. We typically break our membership cycles up into 2 periods. So you pay $80 for a 6-month membership. So if you're interested in test driving the club, but don't want to commit to a full year yet, fear not that you wouldn't be on the hook to do so. So just keep that in mind. Excellent, excellent speeches. It's what we came here for tonight. They delivered. So thank you both to Dana and Jamie. We're about to transition into the table topics portion of our meeting, which is the impromptu speaking section of the meeting. But before I get there, I want to talk about customer service at regional fast food establishments. Customer service, in my experience, at regional fast food establishments has generally been a little higher than at national fast food establishments. Not only is the customer service you get from the employees that works there a little bit more elevated, in my opinion, but also regional fast food establishments are more likely, not painting with a broad brush here, this doesn't mean everyone, but they're more likely to offer what's called limited service as opposed to self-service. So at a self-service fast food restaurant, you order at a counter, you take a ticket where you give them your name, and then they call out your ticket number or your name, and you go up to fetch it and then take it back to your table. Limited service refers to you order at a counter, you go find a place to sit. Maybe they give you a number card on a little stick and they bring the food out to you. And maybe they even clean up after you. So I particularly like that. I think it makes for a slightly more pleasant and slightly more upscale fast food experience, if that's even possible to have an upscale fast food experience. But I won't dither any longer. I just wanted to throw that little tidbit at you. And to shepherd us through the table topics portion of tonight's meeting, which guests are most certainly welcome to participate in, I want to call up my man, Seb Iriani. Show me the cash and the black mustache.
Thank you, Toastmaster Colin. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sebastian. I'll start. First off, I'm really enjoying the theme, learning a lot about regional fast food. And to answer your question about my favorite fast food, so I'm from California. Anyone else in the room? Yeah? All right, so you can tell me if you agree with this or not. But I think if you ask most Californians their favorite fast food restaurant, they'll probably say In-N-Out is their favorite, or at least one of them. Yes, no? Agreed. Perfect. For those of you that don't know about In-N-Out, it's a burger joint. It's really good. They have really fresh ingredients, which I think really elevate the burgers. They also have phenomenal service, and they just have really clean restaurants. So it doesn't really feel like you're going to a fast food spot, in my opinion. Anyway, on to table topics. So first off, very excited to be up here and leading table topics this evening. I really enjoy table topics. It's one of my favorite parts of the meeting. For me, when I first started coming to Toastmasters meetings, it was a great way to kind of dip my toes in the water and get a little bit of experience coming up, getting in front of the group and just speaking for a couple of minutes with, a pretty straightforward question, right? So I think it's a really good opportunity for folks to come up and speak and just get in those reps, right? Quick reminder of how table topics works. So as Colin just mentioned, this is the one portion of the meeting where we open the floor to members and guests. I have a list of questions here. And quick aside, I will admit this is my first time leading table topics, and I made the rookie mistake of thinking that all of our questions had to be really directly related to the theme. So we are really on brand with regional fast food questions today. Usually with table topics, the questions are pretty thought-provoking and insightful, I would say. Tonight, we're going to be a little bit more surface level, just heads up. But I've got a list of questions here. In just a second, I'll see if anyone would like to volunteer to come up, and you'll have 1 to 2 minutes to answer. All right, Jackie, you want to go first? I think I'm just gonna pick one for you. We're gonna go that way. All right, you might have anticipated this one. What is your favorite fast food restaurant and why? And tell us about your best memory or experience at said fast food restaurant.
Thank you, Sebastian. And it was nice to formally meet you earlier today. My favorite fast food restaurant, you're in luck. I'll give you my top 3. I will say McDonald's. I just love a good double cheeseburger, fries, and ranch. Can't forget the ranch. Numero dos. Let's go with Taco Bell. I think a lot of us secretly love Taco Bell, but I'll admit it. Number 3, you just get so much stuff and it's so good. Number 3, I'll have to go with Jamie, Chick-fil-A. The chicken sandwiches are superb. The fries, waffle fries, amazing. One of my favorites, that and curly fries. And let's do an honorable mention. Since we mentioned this earlier, Cookout is also one of my favorites. Everyone was pointing out, what they loved about Cookout, and no one mentioned this, but I love having entrees as a side. That's pretty cool. You could get a cheeseburger with a quesadilla and chicken strips, and then a milkshake on top of that. It's unbelievable. It's a beautiful thing. So as you guys can tell, I love fast food. And that's why I go to the gym every day, because I like to eat, especially fast food. And thank you. I hope you take my considerations. You should all try it, all of them.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Jackie. I feel like I'm learning so much about you this evening. All right, another volunteer. I'm sorry I missed your name earlier, but please come on up. Mumita. All right, Mumita. Still in the realm of fast food here, but we're going to deviate ever so slightly. All right, so one of the main times I think a lot of people eat fast food and get to experience regional fast food is during road trips. So tell us about one of your favorite road trips you've been on, where you went, what you did, and of course, if you had any memorable fast food experiences.
Thank you for asking this question. Actually, I love traveling, and whenever I get an opportunity, I do that. So last year, I got an opportunity to travel to Faroe Island, and then I went to Switzerland. So there I did a trek from Wengen to Klinski. I don't know whether I'm pronouncing it right. And actually, I don't eat that much out. So generally, I'll pack with fruits and water and everything. But I ran out of everything, and my inclination always goes for hot chocolate. And somehow I got a place where it was like in the wood, nice ambience and good hot chocolate. So yeah, my memorable trip was and definitely Faroe. They have this Nordic sky. So I had never had it before. That was one, and there was something on salmon, raw salmon. They do salmon harvesting in Faroe. So that was something I wanted to try, though I'm a vegetarian. But I tried and I liked it. So yeah, and once I got lost, and while I was trying to search my way back, I again saw a cabin, and they served carrot cake. That was awesome. So yeah, that's my memorable trip, and I want to go again and have that experience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mumita. That sounds like it was a great trip. One of the many reasons that I myself love traveling in general, but especially road trips, you get to indulge, right? All right. Any other volunteers? Okay, I saw the hand in the back right corner. Go up first. Yes. Remind me your name.
My name's Adrienne.
Adrian. All right, perfect. Thank you so much for volunteering. All right, we're staying on food. I told you guys we were going to be in this lane. What is one of your favorite or most memorable foods from your childhood? And why does that food hold such a special meaning for you?
Okay. One of my favorite foods I enjoyed eating was potato chips with popcorn on a Saturday night when we were stationed in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. It was just good family memories. Just wanted to do something different. I know everyone always used to add to it. So everyone would be sitting in the den. And when my dad came back from deployment, just engaging with something he enjoyed doing. So I'm really a community oriented person. So that's why I eat the popcorn and chips, because it brought us all together. So that's one of my favorite memories. Thank you for asking.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Adrian. We've got time for one more volunteer. All right, I think I saw Greg right here. I saw you're on first. All right, Greg. Let's see what I got for you. All right, this is a good one. Colin's gonna like this one. If you could come up with a brand new fast food restaurant, what type of restaurant would it be and what would you serve?
Okay. If I could come up with a fast food restaurant and serve any type of food, what would it be? Okay, so this is like a regional thing. They're called garbage plates. I went to school out in Buffalo, New York, part of Western New York in Rochester, and they have this thing called a garbage plate, which is just like a mishmash of a bunch of different foods in like this styrofoam container. And the base of it is home fries, mac salad, 2 burger patties with melted cheese on top, the white kind of American cheddar cheese, not the yellow one. And then it's slathered with this like spicy meat sauce. And when I was in college, I'd go there all the time and get these things in different states of mind. And it always hit the spot. So if I was to start a fast food place, it would be garbage plates. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Greg. All right, Colin, back to you.
Thanks so much, Sebastian. Let's give it up for Sebastian and the speakers. Excellent job. Excellent job. It is very difficult to get up and answer an impromptu question. So props for the courage. And John, I owe you a big apology, man. I'm sorry for associating you with all of that weird stuff that goes on in New York. I don't know if they can be saved up there, but we're going to skip ahead to the general evaluation portion. So the after party I was talking about. This is where the good stuff happens. This is where you get the feedback that you can't get in any other realm of life in a friendly way, in a constructive way. So to lead us through that, Jackie Lorca.
Thank you. So I will be introducing the evaluators and giving my overall evaluation on today's meeting. So let's start with Miriam on the timers report. Miriam.
So today for the speeches, Dana, you came in at 12 minutes, 53 seconds for your 13-minute speech, so right on time. Jamie, you came in at 5 minutes, 49 seconds, so very well done in your time frame. Table topics, Jacqueline, you did 1 minute, 32 seconds, so right in the time frame. Momita, you did 1 minute, 43 seconds. Very well done. Adrian, you did 45 seconds. So almost right up there. And Greg, you did 1 minute exactly. So very well done.
Thank you, Miriam. And no wonder you gave me a funny look because I was incorrect here. I was supposed to bring up the general evaluators to recognize the
two speeches from Dana and Jamie. So John Capello, oh, there you are. You're on deck. All right, John, would you like to come on over?
Okay, first, regional foods. I don't have regional fast food here, so don't start yet. I don't have a regional fast food I like here per se, but I do have one from Chicago. I'm from Chicago, and every time I fly into Chicago, I must have an Italian beef. You've probably seen or heard of a place called Portillo's. And anyone who's from Chicago, when I used to live there, they had moved away. I'd pick them up at the airport, take me to Portillo's. Now, you had to have an Italian beef, dipped, hot peppers, delicious. And as luck would have it, they're due to open 600 stores across the country. So those could be a Portillo's coming to you soon. Okay. I had a distinct pleasure of evaluating Dana tonight. She's giving her level 1 speech and presentation mastery titled Ultimate Guide to Buying and Selling Your Insurance Agency, Letters of Intent. Now, this goal of this speech is to write and deliver a speech with purpose. Now, Dana's purpose was, she had a personal goal, was essentially to raise awareness for other business owners effectively and create motivation for having a plan. I'll try to cover structure, vocal variety, and body language, but let's talk about first of what I thought you did well. First and foremost, one of the goals of any speakers, and I thought you did it, was to take something complicated, make it simple. I mentioned this last time, and I think this is a goal as someone who studies and an expert of something complicated. If you can deliver it in a simple way, it resonates. I really like the way you immediately engaged the crowd with those questions that actually tied in also at the end. You really seized our attention. Now, other things, I think you really developed motivation. You helped make the dreams that these business owners had to work their whole life to make it very salient for them. And that's what creates motivation. And I liked how you connect to their emotions. So there were things in particular that I thought also connected, where you allude to your father. You're basically saying, I understand you. And when you understand someone, they think you are listening and that when you're going to say something impactful for them. Also, use of stories. I really liked the messy napkin that brought it nice and simple. It was entertaining and really brought back that motivation of, hey, why should you be listening to me? And I thought that achieved that. Body language. I want to call this out because I mentioned this last time and you did a much better job at this. For those that weren't here, Dana had given a practice run and kind of was alluding to her slides and kind of doing a little slight tilt such that she was turning her back to the people on the, would be my right-hand side. And it's a cardinal sin really in Toastmasters. You just never want to turn your back on an audience. And so Dana very wisely took my advice and said, instead of turning her back to read the slides, she had her notes in front of her, allowed her to present and to maintain a forward position facing the audience. So I thought that was great. You asked me to look at transitions. I thought you did a good job, in particular one where you asked a rhetorical question and you basically led into your next section. So I think if you want to add other rhetorical questions that lead into the next section, I think that would be good. And make sure you insert a pause. Let someone know you're going on to the next section. Things I would challenge you to work on. I know the structure of this was kind of focused on sellers. And I don't know if you were supposed to also include buyers as well, have a slightly different perspective, but I don't know if that was the goal of the speech. Other things I would say, consider this when you want to create motivation. Hey, you want to know how to make a lawyer really happy? Come try to sell your business without having a plan. And here's all the things I would charge you for. Just creates more motivation from an economic standpoint. And then I would say avoid the age angle. I don't think you want to mention, I think there's other ways. What you're really trying to say is you would rather have cash than stock. You could just say owning stock's a bit more speculative. And in your retirement years, you may want to consider something that's more consistent, something you can lean on, rather than address someone's age. I know where you were going with it, but I'd be careful. Someone might get offended. Overall, I thought you delivered something very complicated in a simple way where we could all follow, and I think you're going to do excellent. General evaluation.
Great job. Yes, Dana, that was great. I love the messy story, and overall, I was very comfortable throughout your speech. Next up, we have Elvis evaluating Jamie. Elvis.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, and good evening, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. I am not a fan of fast food because I typically tend to eat within the boundaries of healthy foods. But when I want to do my escape of the week, the only thing that comes to mind is Chick-fil-A. So not very frequent, but when I do, the only one that I typically try to look for is Chick-fil-A. Well, going back to our evaluation, Jamie, what a wonderful way to make something that could be complicated, speaking about numbers and how to talk about how the budget is distributed. Something that could be, as I mentioned, complicated and difficult to understand. You made it really, really simple. And three things that I would like to cover within my evaluation are the engaging, how engaging that speech was, the clarity, how you made, as I mentioned, something something that could be complicated, very simple. And last, how purposeful that speech was. You started by immediately connecting with the audience. You did it in two ways, by asking questions and also by introducing some humor. You did it twice when you were talking about how we could sponsor the meetings and how we could actually have products that could be placed in our meetings, and with that help also with our dues. And also when you were talking about the snacks and drinks and justifying that in the South, if we're going to have a meeting, then there should be some snacks and drinks. So very good way to introduce some humor and make it also very clear. As I mentioned, your language was very clear, but also you used something that was really interesting in all speeches, is the vocal variety. I noticed how you, in multiple occasions, raised your voice and then went back down, which kept me always in attention. You were capturing my attention all the time, and you did it from the beginning to the end. I think you did it excellent. And it was definitely a very purposeful speech. When we talked about your speech at the beginning, you said, my goal is to make sure that everybody understands. Did that goal was met? I believe, yes, it was already met. When I was looking for something that will be a challenge for you, I couldn't actually find anything. If I would ask something, I would say probably at the end, be more reinforcing and selling why actually this is important, and breaking it down to $3.50 per meeting. That was a great way of doing it, but emphasizing probably at the end just to sell it a little bit more. With that, I would say I look forward to your next speech, and it was a
wonderful, wonderful speech. Thank you.
Couldn't agree more. Jamie, I thought you did great, especially with the sponsorships. That was comical and unique. But Miriam, if you don't mind coming back up and just giving those two timers report. Sorry about that again, everyone.
So tonight, our evaluators both ran a little over. So we have John coming in at 3 minutes, 59 seconds, and Elvis 3 minutes, 40 seconds. So different than the table topics and the speeches, which all came in a little under. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to quickly evaluate the meeting as a whole. I know we're running low on time here. David, happy birthday. I think that's a testament to how dedicated you are to this club. And I know everyone here is very appreciative of you. And we're a week apart, but I will not be here next week. So more power to you. Allie, thank you for today's inspirational speech with the love instead of hate message. Colin, you are hilarious, clever, quick, comfortable, and I look forward to every time you speak. And you crushed it today with your regional fast food topic. Miriam, awesome first speech. I'm not the grammarian, but you didn't have any filler words that I noticed. So great job. Sebastian, great questions. I clearly love them. And overall, just happy to see the progress with a lot of the new members and the club's getting bigger. And I'm really appreciative to be here. And that's it for me. So let's go on to the grammarian. Kendall, would you like to give your report?
All right. Once again, just want to reiterate that it was a really good speech tonight. So I'll go ahead and give the grammarian report. So we had 3 people use the word of the day. Miriam, you used it once. Jamie, you used it. You always seem to, every time you do a speech, you always seem to use a word of the day, I've noticed. So that's really good awareness. And John, you also use the word of the day. So just evaluating everybody's speeches. Colin, I don't think that I caught you. Maybe you slipped it in, but I didn't recognize it. Dana, you had a couple of so's. Jamie, I recognize like maybe one and, but out of your speech, that's really not much at all. Sebastian, I think you had one. Jackie, you didn't really have anything. Amita, you had a couple of ums and ands. Adrian, you had maybe like four or so ums and so a couple so's. Greg, where's Greg? Yeah, Greg, you did not have anything. That was great because you were like right on time in 1 minute. John, I think you had like one Elvis, you had one and Miriam, I caught like one but I could be wrong about that. So yeah, but great work to everybody. Thank you.
All right, and before I return the mic to our Toastmaster, Florida peeps, what's our regional? Okay, I was gonna say Miami subs. Más o menos, yeah. Anyone from Florida? Yeah, but what's your favorite regional spot? I don't know. I don't remember having that many. Okay. Cool. All right, so Pollo Tropical and Miami subs. There you got it. All right, Colin, back to you.
Thank you so much, Jackie, and to both of our speech evaluators, and again to Kendall as our grammarian and Miriam as our timer. You did so nice. We had you up here twice during the evaluation. Thank you very much. We're thin on time tonight. Oops, excuse me. We're thin on time, so I'm going to try and wrap things up quickly. The last little thread that I want to feed you about regional fast food is I believe, generally speaking, there are exceptions to this, but I believe that regional fast food is of a slightly higher quality on average. Doesn't necessarily mean that the ingredients themselves are of greater integrity, nutritionally speaking, but their freshness. I believe that regional fast food chains, especially ones with fewer than, say, 75 locations in a pretty confined geographic area, tend to rely on smaller supply chains. And as a result, food doesn't have to travel as far. It arrives a little more fresh. You might even be able to ship things fresh and not frozen. So I generally class food into 3 categories. The top category is the stuff that enhances your life, adds to your vitality. The middle category is the stuff that neither harms nor helps you. It's just neutral. It sustains you. And then the stuff at the bottom, which is it's actively shortening your life, like smoking a cigarette, for instance. I believe that regional fast foods can extend more into that middle category. I'm not saying all of them, I'm not saying many, but some of them can jump into the neutral category. I think Biscuitville's there, so give it a try if you have the opportunity. Before we terminate things this evening, let's give Mr. Queen City, David Jones, a rousing rendition of Happy Birthday. Steve, you look like a baritone, man. Let it fly. Jamie, nice tenor voice. John, alto. Okay. All right. So are we ready? We're going to sing it around. So this side, we're going to start 3 seconds before no, I'm just kidding. We're going to sing it straight up. And let's go in 3, 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Happy birthday, dear David Jones. Happy birthday to you. There's no place you'd rather be, truthfully, on your birthday than a Toastmasters meeting, right?
Correct, as long as it's on a Tuesday.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Before I turn it back over to our presiding officer, I do just want to let our members know that being distributed tonight is a member engagement survey. We want some honest feedback from you about your membership experience, what we could do better as a club to make the meetings more engaging. I suspect a theme among that feedback might be finishing our meetings on time, which we are not doing tonight, so I apologize for that. But we can certainly address that if that is a concern that is shared through the surveys. If anyone has any other thoughts outside of the survey that they'd like to communicate to us, you're welcome to send that to me, any of the officers of the club. So stay on the lookout for that. It'll be distributed electronically via the email that we have on file for you. We'll also, in future meetings, strive to bring physical copies to the meeting in order to capture feedback from anybody who isn't inclined or able to complete the survey online. President Laxer.
All right. Thank you, Colin. That was amazing. We're going to do a quick 30-second feedback from each of our guests. And then we have 3 members here who didn't get a chance to say anything. So we're going to do a pit stop for each of them real briefly. And then we should be done. So Colin, back to you.
Thank you. I promise we go in reverse order this time. So Steve, general thoughts about the meeting, and also please share any regional fast food affinities you may have.
General thoughts, I like the structure and I thought that everyone did a great job. I would say Chick-fil-A would be a favorite for regional.
I didn't mean to hit you that hard. I'm sorry.
Great energy in this club. It's really great too. I would encourage anyone, if they've only been to one club, to always try other ones. I'm glad this will be my new one, but it's always nice because every club does things slightly different, and it's just great to have different experiences at all of them. I'm not a big fast food person, but I love ice cream, and that's why I really like Cookout. I'm from Maryland. We do not have them there, and that was a treat when I found them. And I always get the mint chocolate with the Oreo in there. So that's the only one I know of.
Maybe you should lobby for a crab milkshake at Cookout.
Great first meeting. I feel like it'll be very, very beneficial to help me grow. So I'm super excited to join. My favorite regional fast food will either be between Chick-fil-A or Cookout. I eat Chick-fil-A often, but I go to Cookout for the milkshakes, and my favorite one is blueberry.
So I bet if you went to Dario and told him your name, you'd eat for free all the time.
Hi, I like the structure and format of this meeting. There is like for everyone there, based on their liking and pace, everyone can contribute to this meeting. In terms of fast food, I like Subway. It's healthy and it also gives the fast food feeling. So that's what I like.
Uh, sorry, I enjoyed the meeting. I'm glad I spoke up front. I talk all the time as a school teacher, so I don't know why. This is not my school voice. So I'm just trying to perfect my speaking skills so I can grow in other avenues as a entrepreneur. So I'm learning a lot about myself and it's very humbling, but I do a good job with those kids.
What a great way to seize the day. My favorite regional fast food chain, I would say, is Maple Street Biscuits. Anyone had it before? No? Okay. And the great thing about this meeting is I got to reconnect with a friend that's known me probably since I was 10 years old. So thank you.
This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed hearing everyone get up there and speak, and talking about all the regional food just made me really hungry. So looking forward to getting something to eat after this.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all of our guests. Please come back as much as you want. There's no obligation to join. We'd love to have you back. To round things out, we've got 3 members with us tonight who didn't speak during tonight's meeting. I want a quick 30 seconds from you, Tanishi. If you had to eat one fast food chain 3 meals a day for 1 week, what would it be?
I would say, like Jackie said, I'm a big fan of Taco Bell. I grew up on it. Yeah, so definitely Taco Bell. My favorite thing to get from Taco Bell is a crunch wrap. So I would probably start the day off with a crunch wrap, and then lunch, I'd probably do a Mexican pizza and maybe a chalupa. And then for dinner, probably a bean burrito and a chalupa again. So I could definitely do that for a week.
Tom, quick preface question. Do you drink alcohol?
Occasionally.
Which quantities? What is your preferred late night drunk fast food?
Either Taco Bell or McDonald's. The problem with Taco Bell is I don't like sour cream, and they always put sour cream on everything, even when I emphasize not to. The last time I went, I was like leaning out the window, saying over and over again, like, don't put sour cream in it, don't put sour cream in it. And they must have just done it to spite me. Then McDonald's is great because when I was drunk one night, I discovered that you can mix the chicken nuggets with ranch and barbecue sauce at the same time. And it doesn't taste good sober, but if you're not sober, it's really good.
I'm going to take a wild guess here. This man's a tequila drinker. All right. All right, Brian. If you had to take a first date to a fast food restaurant, I mean, if you had to take them to a fast food restaurant, which one would you go for?
Well, I would be hoping it would be back home. So for me, upstate New York, I'd say Bill Gray's. Although the garbage plate would be maybe for dessert. I don't know, or maybe the second date. But yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. And with that, we'll end things on a classier note here with President Laxer.
Thank you, Colin. I want to give a plug to Romeo's Vegan Plant-Based Burgers. If you've never been on South Boulevard, they have a drive-through and they have a really good food truck that pops up. If you don't like vegan stuff, they have great French fries. So we will bring our meeting to a close with the following quote that I love. Alone, you can go fast, but together, you can go far. Join our club, make us part of your journey, and together we can go far. And I just want to end by apologizing to Andrea and thanking her for bringing David's stuff. And for those of you who know Andrea, she has a really bad nut allergy. And I had a big bag of walnuts on my table when we were interacting. And so she unfortunately couldn't stay. But I do want to thank her for having brought David's supplies. So, yeah. So, and I look forward to seeing everybody next week. Stay safe.